Have you ever noticed how your phone, how it actually gets paid when you're anxious?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, think about it. The algorithm doesn't make money when you are content. It thrives entirely on your dissatisfaction.
Yeah, it gets paid when you compare, when you
Mm.
doom scroll, or,
Mm.
when you feel like your life desperately needs an upgrade.
Right. And which makes our topic today feel, frankly, incredibly urgent.
It really does. It's a sobering reality when you frame it that way.
For sure. So for this deep dive, we are exploring a profound teaching from Agape Community Church in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're unpacking Pastor Florin's message from the Unshakable series.
Specifically, looking at his raw research notes, which are fascinating, and the Sunday summary.
Exactly. And for those of you listening who are part of the apprenticeship groups, you know this is part of a special three-prong approach.
Right, so the in-person Sunday message is kind of the Cliff Notes version to stir your curiosity.
Then the full message video on YouTube gives you that deep textual insight for midweek listening.
And this deep dive right here functions as the Carpenter's Apprentice audio experience.
Yeah, it's designed to help you, the listener, internalize message personally in your groups.
But before we get too far in, we need to anchor this.
Yes, please pause the audio right now and read the primary biblical text. That is Philippians chapter 4, verses 10 through 20 in the NIV translation.
Go ahead, we'll wait.
All right, assuming you've read it, we are going to anchor this down-to-earth conversation about apprenticing under Jesus with 5 foundational Bible study questions.
Right. What does this say about God? What does it reveal about humanity? What must we believe, obey, or turn away from? What promises, warnings, or examples are here? And finally, who can we talk with or pray for?
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with that second question about humanity's condition. The pastor's notes really highlight our cultural state right now. We are trained by comparison and consumerism to just be chronically discontent.
Yeah, and the pastor's raw research brings in this concept of hedonic adaptation.
The hedonic treadmill.
Exactly. Getting the new house for the upgrade, it only creates a temporary spike in happiness before we need another hit.
It's just a biological illusion of more. You run as fast as you can, you buy the thing, but you haven't actually moved an inch forward in your overall happiness.
Right, because your brain adapts to that new baseline. The luxury you dreamed of just becomes the standard you feel entitled to.
I can definitely relate to that. You get the new car, and for a month, you're obsessed with keeping it spotless.
Oh, yeah. No eating in the car.
Exactly. And then 6 months later, it's just the thing getting you to work filled with empty coffee cups, and you're already looking at the newer model on the highway.
It exposes the absolute myth that if I just had X, I'd be happy.
Which brings us to question 3, what we need to believe. Because Paul addresses this head-on in verse 11 when he says he has learned to be content, whatever the circumstances.
Yes.
He uses the Greek word autarkos for content.
And the cultural context of that word is just critical. Philippi was a prominent Roman colony, and autarkies was a well-known Stoic buzzword for, the good life.
It meant being totally self-sufficient. Right.
Exactly. Achieved through intense inner self-mastery. The idea that you don't need anything outside of yourself. You're a fortress.
But Paul is completely hijacking that cultural buzzword.
He is. He engages with their vocabulary, but completely refuses their philosophical foundation.
He rejects that autonomous self-sufficiency and replaces it with Christ-sufficiency.
Because true contentment isn't about isolating yourself or pretending you don't have human needs.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. In verse 12, Paul uses the word memumai. He says, I've been initiated, or I have learned the secret.
Right. The secret of being content.
Yeah, and looking at question 1 about God and question 4 about examples, what does that secret actually mean in that context?
Well, if we look at the historical backdrop, memumai was the official language of mystery religions and secret cults.
Wow.
Yeah, they promised that if you paid the price to learn their hidden wisdom, your life would finally make sense.
It sounds like modern internet marketing.
It really does. Buy my course. Learn the secret hack to passive income.
But Paul totally subverts it. The secret isn't a magic ritual or some religious hack.
No, it's formed maturity through real-world practice. It's a hard work of apprenticing under Jesus in the messy realities of life.
Which leads right into verse 13. I can do all this through him who gives me strength.
And the pastor's research notes have a fascinating piece of textual criticism here.
Oh, about the word Christ.
Yeah. Many modern translations read, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength.
Right.
But later scribes actually added the word Christ to clarify the text. The earliest original text implies the agent, so it just reads, I can do all this through him who gives me strength.
Scribes probably added it to make sure nobody thought Paul was talking about his own stoic willpower.
Exactly. But it's so important to realize this is not a hype verse for athletic achievement.
Yeah, you see it on Football Eye Black all the time.
All the time. But in context, all this refers back to verse 12, enduring hunger and handling abundance.
It's about having the strength to endure being crushed by poverty without losing faith, and the humility to handle massive wealth without losing your soul.
And it is entirely sourced by God.
Okay, so that distinction pushes us into the second major theme from the research: partnership versus patronage.
This directly addresses question 2 about our human struggles and question 4 on warnings.
Because it touches on a massive modern cultural issue. Money buys influence.
It really does. In churches and nonprofits, generous donors can unintentionally hold a ministry hostage.
The pastor's notes call it resource dependence theory. Giving comes with strings attached.
What's fascinating here is how this connects to the ancient Greco-Roman reciprocity culture.
Right, because in Paul's day, there was no such thing as a free gift.
No. Gifts created deep, binding social debts. It was a formal patron-client system.
If someone gave you money, you were socially obligated to return that favor with loyalty, public honor, and giving them leverage over you.
Which perfectly explains Paul's thankless thanks in verse 10.
Yeah, if you read it plainly, it sounds almost rude.
He says, I rejoiced greatly in the Lord, that at last you renewed your concern for me.
He doesn't say a direct thank you.
Because a direct thank you would signal he was stepping into a patron-client relationship. It would give the wealthy Philippians leverage over his apostolic ministry.
So he sets a massive boundary. He rejoices in the Lord to make God the primary benefactor.
He triangulates the relationship. It's God providing for Paul through the Philippians.
And that completely aligns with question 1, revealing God's character and kingdom. It makes me think of Matthew 6.33.
Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness.
Exactly. When we follow Jesus, we are adopted into the family of God, the nation of God, the kingdom of God.
And it is a real nation with a specific heritage and a distinct culture.
In that kingdom culture, giving is not a marketplace transaction where you purchase influence.
No, it is a temple sacrifice. It's worship. Paul literally calls their gifts a fragrant offering.
You can't bribe God. You aren't buying a VIP seat at the church board table. You are offering it to the Creator.
Which brings us to the ultimate promise in verse 19, hitting question 4 again.
And my God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory in Christ Jesus.
Notice it says according to his riches, not our panic.
That fuels our mission. We don't have to lead from a place of scarcity or water down the truth because we're afraid a big donor will walk away.
God supplies our needs.
So how do we actually live this out? Looking at question 3, what must we obey or practice? Apprenticing under Jesus has a practical component.
Right, contentment is a learned practice. It's not a personality type.
The pastor's notes outline some really tangible applications here.
First is conducting a gratitude audit.
Writing down specific evidences of God's grace in your life from the last week.
Because our devices train us to notice what we lack, a gratitude audit forcefully retrains your attention to notice what you've already been given.
It grounds you in reality. And the second practice is fasting from comparison triggers.
Like the social media algorithms we talked about earlier.
Right.
Or real estate apps, or LinkedIn.
Just completely cutting off the supply line of discontentment for a week.
Give your brain a reset.
And the third application is practicing consistent, intentional generosity without demanding leverage.
Giving in a way that truly costs you something, but with zero strings attached.
So bringing it to our final question, question 5. Who can we talk with or pray for? How do we apply this relationally?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, look at verse 14. Paul says, yet it was good of you to share in my trouble.
Yes, share in my troubles.
Yes. In the kingdom, we are called to move from being consumer Christians to co-laborers.
It's not just about showing up, consuming a sermon, and leaving.
Right. We have to look around our church community and find someone who is suffering and genuinely share in their trouble.
And not just throwing a check at them from a safe distance, but being present, praying with them.
Interdependent grace instead of isolated independence.
Which leaves us with a final, lingering thought building on all this research.
Lay it on us.
If our culture is constantly trying to initiate us into the cult of more, what would happen if your ultimate flex this week was simply deciding that you already have enough?
Oh, that completely shifts everything.
It changes the whole reason we chase ambitions. We pursue excellence not to fill a void, but to bless others from a place of already being full.
That is a kingdom offering right there.
Something for you to mull over this week. We sincerely want to thank you for making the time to participate in this deep dive.
Truly, doing the hard work of apprenticing under Jesus takes real intentionality.
We see you, we value you, and we appreciate you doing this with us.
It is a privilege.
If you want to explore more tools for the journey and align with these kingdom beliefs, we warmly invite you to visit the Agape Church website at www.agapechurch.life.
Keep seeking the kingdom first.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.